Hello, my beautiful beauties, my wonderful lovelies. A pleasant afternoon to you. Remember, this cheese I guess brand, it is certainly not associated with any cult or a cult. I belong to Jesus Christ. All right. From time to time, I will hear people say this particular thing about, especially if they're popular, and I'm not saying there's no truth to it. There can be truth to it. That people will use them in terms of use their information or use, speak about them in order to gain traction, in order to gain clout, in order to gain likes, in order to gain views, and we know the enchilada of everything. I can tell you, well, in my case, I can only speak for myself because I don't know the heart of a man or a woman. I don't do that. If I feel led to speak about a particular topic, I really just feel led by God to do so because I want to help in whichever way that I'm able to help. Because one of the things we need to realize in our beautiful people is that promotion, and I guys all of that, the likes, the views, the clout, whatever it is that you would dub it as promotion, God taking you to a higher level, of fame and fortune. Let us use that for example. So he's taking you to a higher level. When it comes directly from God, it stays, it cannot be moved. The only being that can move it is God. Only God can move it. So when sometimes you hear, sometimes when you hear rather people speak, maybe about particular artists and so on, it's not necessarily that they're looking to get some traction by speaking about the artists. Let me qualify my statement so you can understand. Was it the Beatles who had said they are more popular than Jesus? I think so. And I'm sure that there are many people today who do not even know who the Beatles are. I don't know if I know a song by the Beatles. I probably do and don't know that they are the singers, the musicians behind it, to be honest with you. And that is actually so even before hearing that is there, that the comment that I don't know if all members or a few members or one member had made. I'm not sure, to be very honest with you. I was just not necessarily, it was my type of singers, put it that way, my speed of music. And I listen to a wide cross section of music. My genre is wide. All right? I don't just listen to gospel. I love, I'm an avid R&B lover. That's the era I really, you'd say, I grew up listening to a lot. I love real soul, R&B. I love pop. I love dancehall. I love reggae. I like rock. I like rap. I like country and western. So many ballads. I like opera. I like classical. I like Negro spiritual, African. You name them, myriads of them. And I'm saying that to say that God took away whatever popularity they had gained, whatever traction the Beatles, the great Beatles, had gained, and took this thing away from popularity. So their popularity flopped. It flopped. So, in other words, if mankind offers popularity, it can be taken back. But when God gives it, no. God does give and take back, like, really. Unless you're doing something heinous and you're trying to test him and behaving a particular way, then God will show you who is God from who is not. And we already know the answer to that, that you, human, is not God. You're certainly not God. All right. So again, when you see people, so in some cases, talk about any popular person or anything that is in the media that is ripe and very juicy and ready to be taken and eaten and swallowed, it doesn't mean that they're trying to get some traction from that particular artist or riding on that particular artist's name. It could mean that they do have a concern about the situation, or some people, they just love to spew some level of vitriol and so on. Notwithstanding, you do have those who will, call particular artist's name in order to gain traction, likes, views, and clout because they want to boost. Now, if that is the case, you should actually thank them. It therefore means that you're really somebody of worth. Like if I become somebody grandiose and great and I realize that they're using my name, you know, as a benchmark for something or as a household name or whatever it may be, it's a privilege and an honor, to be honest with you. It therefore means that I am somebody of worth to that individual, even if it is a troll. Even if it is a troll, because usually people only look at diamonds, real diamonds. They're not interested in the fake. They're really interested in the real. Even if they start out at the fake, they just can't wait to get rid of the fake and get to the real. And if you disbelieve what I'm saying to you, I mean the theory can be, the hypothesis can be tested so easily. Just allow, if the world leaders allow the entire universe to become wealthy, let me tell you, those who sell these fashion jewelry, I'm sorry for them. I would be sorry for them. Maybe people will buy it on the basis of, okay, it looks good for the moment, but all the real jewelers would make a killing. They would make a killing in terms of money. They would make so much money. All right? So, not again, even though you may see people use your name, and when I say you're anybody who is popular, whether in whatever industry that they're popular in, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're trying to get some clout or traction and views and likes on the basis of speaking about you. It could mean that they're concerned about the situation, and because whatever it is that is they're speaking about is something that has been made public, so they have no choice. They're relegated to address the matter publicly. All right, my beautiful people. So I want you to get that. I'm not saying that you don't have those who do that. And even then, the Bible says we must be wise as serpents, but harmless as doves. So if we're taking wisdom, nothing is wrong with that. Anybody who became great, they became great off the backs of somebody else. In other words, nobody's an island. Nobody stands alone. Nobody stood alone. The great Michael Jackson would have told you, if you were here, would tell you that he admired the musicianship and the dance moves of James Brown. You really admire James Brown, the great James Brown. And there are other people that he probably admired, and then he just pulled his own talent, whatever God had blessed him with mixing it with James Brown and others, and it morphed into him becoming the great, late, venerable, esteemed Michael Jackson. There are persons who had inspired the late great and esteemed notable Whitney Houston. I know she spoke about Ella Fitzgerald. Um, there's another name that just came to my mind. I don't know if she had said Nancy Wilson, but there are the greats, her predecessors. She spoke of them. Even her cousin, her first cousin, Dionne Warwick. If you listen to some of how they write, how Dionne Warwick sings certain songs, performs her music, you can see that Whitney followed her cousin in some aspects. So she learned, and all of that was morphed with her talent that God just blessed her with naturally. And for me personally, again, this is my personal opinion, she became the greatest singer ever. Even though by the thing their standard, they gave it to Aretha Franklin and put Whitney Houston second. I would switch it. Well, I don't know if I would put Aretha second personally, and it's no disregard to Aretha. I could put her in the top 10, but I don't know if I'd put her second. All right. So I'm just saying to you that we all had to learn from somebody else. The late, great, and venerable, and the esteemed, notable Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His father, Martin Luther King Sr., decided that he would allow mentors to mentor his son, and he became even greater than the father. So, in other words, Martin Luther King Jr. was a combination of all these mentors plus his own talents, gifts, and abilities and skills. So beautiful people, not everyone that you see come on and they mention this person's name, that person's name who may be, popular. They have the fame, they have the fortune in order to gain clout and traction. Because again, promotion really comes from God. And personally for me, I prefer it to come from God. I prefer to wait on God. Let Him promote me. I don't need anybody else to promote me. But it would be good if people can hear and listen and apply what will, is applicable to them. What is not, still keep it in your back pocket because one day it may become applicable to you. What I've said. I'm just here, to help people for all of us to become better human beings on the planet in one way or another. Beautiful people, follow me on TikTok, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and share this message.